Hey, Queen. I'm Vieira Miles, and this is the Holistic Sister Circle podcast, a show where we hear the stories of soulful women all over the world dedicated to sharing insight into why holistic health is the future and what women should do today to ensure they have the necessary tools and resources to bring out their inner royal roots, assess their body, and remedy any illness from the comfort of their home. Y'all, we are setting the royal record straight, okay? If you'd like to connect with us further, you can follow us at The Holistic Sister Circle on Instagram and join the Holistic Sister Circle Facebook group for live interviews, collaborative Q&A, and exclusive training on how to build your wellness dream team. Now, let's dive into this week's episode. See you on the other side. Welcome to another episode of The Holistic Sister Circle. Today we have Chanel Diane with us, and Chanel is a feminine empowerment coach with a background in therapy. She helps women shift out of survival mode and into softness, magnetic confidence. With a heart for healing and deep connection, Chanel guides transformation, often while enjoying the flicker of a candle in a moment of cozy stillness. Chanel, we're so excited to have you here. Welcome.
Thank you. I'm happy.
You're welcome.
I
Yes.
have my candle flickering right now.
Oh, I love it. You should have told me. I would have totally brought a candle to the party. But no, all seriousness, this is such a great topic. I think this is something that, so many women go through. I've gone through it, still going through it in certain areas of my life as well. And I want us to just talk about it. So my first question for you before we actually get into it is, what led you to this work?
I have a background in therapy. So I'm working with women all the time. And this is a common topic, believe it or not, that comes up. So from a personal standpoint, I fought appearing too feminine growing up. Like, I didn't want people to call me dainty. I didn't want them to call me soft. I tried to have this tough exterior, and it really weighed me down. As I got older, I started to realize that showing up in my most feminine self wasn't a weakness. It's actually where my power lies. So I started to embrace that and do the inner work and really get to the root of why I wanted to appear tough and realize that I was in survival mode. And so through me healing myself and coming out of survival mode and then working with women through therapy, I saw, oh, wow, this is a need. Like, this is something that a lot of us are crying out for. We want to feel soft and not like we have to take care of the world. And so I said, let me make this my message and coach women on how to come out of survival mode and really embrace their feminine energy. So that's a little bit of my journey in a nutshell.
I love this topic. And thank you so much for sharing that, because one of the things that I noticed too, and you can let me know from just a therapeutic perspective, one of the things that I've noticed as well is with women, and as we are, like you were saying, a lot of it has to do with how we were raised. And some of us were raised, and maybe you're raised like in a single parent household, where for me, it was just my mom, and she sometimes had to play both roles, right? She was she had her feminine energy, but then she had to have the masculine energy as well to ensure that we had everything that we needed. And what I've noticed even within myself is that sometimes, because we're in a day and age where women are actually working and they are, making sure that they can make their money and things like that, we don't know how to turn it off, how to turn that masculinity off. So we're in the feminine. And then when we're in the feminine, we don't actually know how to stay there in a way that we're not gray, that it's not coming from a place of, who am I and what am I doing, because I'm no longer the earner or the producer in this way. How do I still show up in that same type of energy, even when I'm not the one who may not necessarily be the financial provider, or in a way where now, where I had to do it because it was out of scarcity or lack, or just making sure I had things together, versus now where I'm trying to be soft, But at the same time, me being soft also means me being gray and vague and almost like a robot because I'm not really sure where I'm going with this. Because this is a new territory for me and I have no idea how to step into this in a confident way for you to accept me in this area. So I would love to hear your perspective on this as well. Whether you've worked with clients like that or you've seen it within your own relationships, but how are women navigating these things and what would you say in that situation?
Yeah, I definitely coach women on this. So, what I'm hearing you say is, how can they shift their identity from performing to being?
Yes.
That masculine energy, which there's nothing wrong with it. It's just you don't want to lean too heavy in the masculine. You need to bring that feminine energy out. Our identity can become performing. And so you have to ask yourself, anyone, if my identity is performing, then what happens to my identity when I can't perform anymore? Does my self worth in my eyes diminish? So that's the mindset shift that needs to take place to really embrace the feminine energy, that we are more than what we can do for people. We are worth, high value, whatever you want to call it, simply because of who we are. Just showing up. That's it. Like just being you. You don't have to fight and earn and prove. You get to just be. And that's what a lot of women don't realize. Your presence is life giving, your voice is life giving. So it's a shift in identity. I tell people I worked in a school and my office was, I had a specific role, and my office was also in the place where I could give out uniforms and snacks, and I was doing a lot at this time in my life. Like I had to shut the door sometimes, but I would have students that would just come in there. I'd never met them before. They would just come in and just need to sit down. That's it. And I would ask them like, you want to talk about what it is? Nope, I just want to sit here for a little bit. And I would say, okay. And then when they were done, I would write them their pass and then they go on their way. I didn't have to say anything. I didn't have to fix anything for them. They just needed the peace that came from my presence and the peace that came from the environment that I curated in that office. That's it. So if women would see your presence is powerful, it would take that pressure off of them to perform and just be. And being and flowing, that's where the feminine energy shines. That's what it is. It's a flowing energy and intuitive, that sort of thing. And so that's where we shine. Yeah.
No, this is such a good topic. And I appreciate you sharing that because you're right. When you were in that role of just performing and that's all you feel like when you're not in a position to perform, it's almost as if you're no longer worthy or you don't know how to create or cultivate the environment that you're looking to do because you're so used to doing it from a performative state. So I know you did say, ask yourself these questions and say, they're like, okay, Chanel, like I asked myself the question. Okay. That's me. I'm right there. Right. What is that next step? Because from a mindset shift perspective, sometimes we need a little bit more push or a little bit or even a little something to happen in our lives for us to be like, oh, I gotta figure this out, right? So what would you say to someone who is like, okay, I understand that I like this is me, I'm raising my hand, I'm holding myself accountable here, but how do I actually take those next steps in real time?
One, I would say open your mind to getting some support, coaching, therapy. You don't have to do the journey on your own. Because if you're coming out of survival mode, there's some sort of trauma that's put you there. So we need to process that sometimes. And we don't always know that we have these core beliefs that are driving our actions and our perspectives. So, absolutely consider that. Another thing I would say is dream a little bit. How do you picture your feminine self being? Like, what is she doing? What is she wearing? What does she say? How does she act? How does she respond in conflict? Picture that and jot that down because that guides you on what steps to take next, specifically for you. So, for example, if your most feminine self is wearing flowy dresses on the weekend and that's what you picture, then go buy some flowy dresses. That's what helps you embody your feminine essence. If you picture her getting massages and just taking it slow throughout the week, then okay, let me go get a massage and let me pace myself. So ask yourself, what is my most feminine self doing? What does she wear? Where does she go? How does she respond in conflict? Jot that down. That's your picture of how you want to show up. And then start to take small steps to manifest that.
I love that. I absolutely love that. And for those who are listening to, like, what are some ideas that you may have for yourself? What are some things that you've done that you would love to share with us? Or even, are there some things that Chanel has already mentioned that that you would love to try to do and see what that looks like for you? Now, Chanel, for those who say you're obviously, I want to take us a step further with this. And, we have our list, we're writing the things down, we're manifesting this person that we're looking to be and become. And then we pull out our phones and we go to social media. And then now we're in this state of, this is the person that I say I want to become, but this is the person that I also feel like I'm competing with. What would you say in that situation?
I love that comparison.
Yeah.
So I would ask another question. Who are you trying to become this for? Are we trying to show someone something or are you doing it for yourself? Because if I'm doing it for myself, where's the competition? It doesn't exist. No one can be me. No one can be the better version of me better than I can. There's only one Chanel Elizabeth Diane birth. That's my whole government. That I dropped that. There's only one me. So am I trying to be someone else or am I trying to be a better version of myself? Asking yourself that question, what's my purpose? Why do I want to make this shift? And if it's not for you, then why isn't it for you? Why are you doing this for someone else? Now, when I say that, if you have a loved one who is saying, hey, you need to make some adjustments, okay, that's good. That's someone holding you accountable. They brought it to your attention. We love that. But other people trying to be like them or competing with them, that's not the goal. The goal is to build your confidence in who you are and to recognize that you get to flow and be your most feminine self, authentic self, just as you are called to be.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And one of the things that you said that I want to go a little bit deeper into is, having that partner or that spouse to hold you accountable and really sharing with you, hey, like, you aren't who you used to be, or I see some different changes in you, or how can we improve and how can we make this work? For those who, again, for those who are listening who are in a relationship, right? I would love for you all to, again, share this with us too in real time. But Chanel, my question for those ladies is, what does it look like, or what questions should we be asking ourselves that are actually going to lead to a more thriving and healthy relationship where we can find that inner voice within us to help us move further instead of just solely focusing on what our spouse is saying. Because it's one thing to say, okay, your spouse is calling it out, but just because they're calling it out, it still doesn't mean that you're going to go and run with it today. Sometimes it still takes you some time to even process it, and then process it in a way where you actually are going to start executing and living it out. And sometimes we also don't have a lot of time. So between I don't have a lot of time because man, my man has said this to me more than once and he's getting a little frustrated with me, versus man, he's getting really frustrated with me and for some reason it's not coming out of me the way that I want it to. Where do I go from here? I would love for you to answer that.
So just so I'm clear, you're asking, how do we embody the change that we are being called to make?
Yes.
Okay.
Yep. How do we embody the change that we're being called to make in an efficient time? Yes.
Okay. That word efficient, right? Okay, now let's just say, because you mentioned partner and he's getting frustrated. I'm hearing you say he's on his way out the door, potentially.
Possibly, possibly, right? Like, I'm getting frustrated. This is not what I thought it would be. You've changed. You're different, right? Like, and I have these real conversations. I actually had another lady that I spoke to just a couple months ago, and she was sharing how she felt like all the weight on the world was on her. She's trying to, help her husband in his business and then help with the kids, and then still trying to find herself in the middle of everything. And what does she like and what does she not like? And how can she continue to essentially make sure everyone's okay by also making sure that she's doing what she needs to do for herself as well. So these are literally conversations that, I've had with so many women on the show, and whether they're on the show, whether they're guests and they're just listening and tuning in. And, personally, I don't have the answer because sometimes I'm going through it too. So I think it's important that, like you were saying, we have these communities and we're able to have these conversations and really pull on our network to say, hey, like, girl, like, how, what did you do to get out of this? Or how did you flow into this?
Yeah. And so pull on our network. Know when to tag somebody else in and get some support. So going with what you said, he's getting frustrated as an example.
Mm-hmm.
Girl, well, baby, let's do some couples counseling so we can figure this out. Like, sometimes we wait until the house is on fire to try to put it out. If you see the smoke simmering and it's impacting your relationship and you don't know what direction to go in, go get some counseling. Get a professional that can help you identify the things that you just are not able to on your own. That's a big step, because we don't want to wait till the house is on fire and now we got to call the fire department. I mean, we can prevent it from getting to that point.
Right.
And so with the other example that you gave, someone who's feeling, what I'm hearing, burned out, like taking care of everyone, gotta get some help. You're doing too much. Take a step back. Trying to help your husband. Okay, well, baby, you want a happy wife. You might need to tag somebody else to help you with your business. I can't do it all. And we want to be superwoman a lot of the time. We don't want to admit that we need help. We don't want to say that we're struggling. But it comes out. We're frustrated. We're snappy. We're tired. We're getting sick. Our body is sending us signals and we're just overriding it. You don't have to be everything to everyone. So take a step back. That's what I would say. Take a step back. Examine your life. Is there somewhere that I can actually ask for some support? Yeah. Because a block for feminine energy is being in survival mode. And what puts us in survival mode? Having this really high stress life and circumstance. So you're going to scale that back. Know when to say no. Know when to tell yourself no. Set boundaries for yourself and other people and actually listen to your body. If you find that you can't sit still for a long time, you're anxious. That's a sign of anxiety. So if you're anxious, you're doing too much. So rest, take a break, ask for help, you might actually have the mental clarity to know or to even have the strength to start implementing the other types of changes, the other forms of growth that your partner's asking for. But if you're tired, if you're exhausted, no, you don't even have the mental capacity to then do those other things. So you have to give yourself a break and listen to your body.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And I know it's easier said than done, but one of the biggest things and one of the things that I really appreciate about just our community too is like you have the people, we're here every week. We are interviewing people all the time. So if there's anyone that you're like, "Hey, let me tap into it," or "I love that episode. Let me go talk to Chanel. Let me go have a conversation." Like I want you all to be able to use this platform as that um, as you're essentially to help you in any aspect. So I love that and how you really broke that down. Now, for those who are, say they're on this journey and they're just looking for some practical steps of being able to tap into their feminine energy and in a way that, again, focuses on what makes sense for them. Because if you can tune into you, then, internally, then everything just flows into place. What would you say would be like the first step that they should take from a practical standpoint? Maybe they're not necessarily ready to seek counseling yet, but they are ready to prepare themselves to do things differently.
So the first thing I would say is to examine the amount of self-care that you do throughout the week.
Mm.
Do you just wait for the weekend to take breaks? Do you actually take your lunch during the workday? Are you eating and working through your lunch? Are you moving until it's time to go to sleep? That's what I would take inventory of. If you're not taking breaks throughout the day, then a very easy way to do that is at least twice a day, take a 5 minute break. 5 minute break
Mhm.
where you go to the bathroom, run some cold water on your hands because it helps ground you, or go outside, look at the sun for a second, come back in, walk away from that desk just for 5 minutes, and then come back to what you have to do. And if you are someone who typically would not even be aware of how long you're working, then set an alarm. When that alarm goes off, that's your cue. It's time for my 5 minute break. So that's one thing I would say. Twice a day, 5 minute break. And then at least once a week, do some sort of self care activity, whether that is watching a movie with a face mask, whether that's sending the family to the grocery store and you stay home for those 30 minutes. Something. Do something. Prioritize it because your needs are just as important as everyone else's needs. And if you're not showing up for yourself, it affects the quality that you can give to everyone else. It's like a car trying to run on E, barely making it, hoping the car doesn't, shut down on the side of the road. And that's what happens to us. We get sick and all of this. So make sure you're taking a break throughout every day, at least 2 5 minute breaks each day, and then one self-care activity a week, non-negotiable.
Mm.
Because that allows you to slow down, calm your nervous system. So then you can actually reflect a little bit more and then see what you need next.
Absolutely. Absolutely. No, that's perfect. I love that. Let me know. Let us know who's actually doing this now. Probably not many of you.
Yeah. Yeah.
Who's doing this now? Like what are you doing once a week? Tell us. We would love to know. Maybe we can bounce some ideas off of each other as well. I think that'll be awesome. But no, this is great. I mean, I was actually talking to one of my girlfriends the other day, and I said, "Man, this is nice." I took the girls to practice, and while they were at practice, I was like, "I'm gonna go get a pedicure," and that was my time, right? That was, and I was like, "Man, I like this." Right? Like, what am I gonna do next week? And just getting into the habit of making it a ritual, because once you think it and you actually put it on the calendar, um, so many things change because you're open and you're setting yourself up for receiving more and releasing the things that no longer serve you. So I absolutely love that. Now, Chanel, this has been amazing, and I'm so happy that we've been able to do this. My last question for you is, if someone wanted to work with you, like, what does that process look like? How can we connect with you further? Tell me all the things.
Yes. So you can go to my website, See Diane Empower You, and you can book a coaching session with me. I have a 60-minute option that will be perfect. Go on there, you can book it, and then we'll know from there how to build if you need more. Or maybe the one and done, that one power session was all you needed, but that's exactly where you can go. C, like the letter C, Diane, and then empower, and then the letter U. That's my website. Yes. And
I
I will be
love it.
so happy to work with the girlies.
Yes,
Yes.
yes, yes. Like I said, Chanel's part of the circle now. So, if anyone wants to connect with her further, all of her information will also be in the description notes of this episode. And yeah, check her out. See, how she can help you. And Chanel, this has been amazing. So I'm so grateful.
This was fun. This was a great way to end my day. I love it. Love
Oh,
this topic.
yay! Queen, thank you so much for tuning in. It truly warms our heart that you're taking the time out of your day to connect with us. If you'd like to connect with our guests further, you can find their information located in the description section of this episode. And if you found this episode helpful, share with another queen. And don't forget to connect with the Holistic Sister Circle on Instagram and Facebook. And until next week, stay blessed. Mwah.